Frank, how impressive has this defense been this year?
They've done a good job. They've done a good job. You know, the kids just buying into what we're asking them to do and understanding, you know, there's more still in the tank for us. And so we just feel like we haven't played 4 quarters at a high level yet, right? It's been solid, but there's still more in the tank, and the kids understand that, and they're still hungry to finish a game 4 quarters all the way through.
You're not afraid to give praise and stuff. I mean, when you look at all the defenses you've been a part of, I mean, I know there's still half the season left, but I mean, is this one of the better defenses you've been a part of?
Absolutely, absolutely, man. And a lot of that has to do with the kids that are in the program, man. They do a great job. So they're talented, but they're smart. They work hard at their craft, and these guys spend a lot of time committed to what we're asking them to do. So that plays a huge role in where we're at right now.
The numbers are really good, but you say you think you can do better. So where do you think you can do better?
Well, until we bring that trophy home, I think we're always going to be climbing the mountains. So I think that's the ultimate goal. And you know, unless you're the stats, the number 1 is next to your name, I think you still have room to improve. So that's always going to be the goal for us.
Last year, you guys were a little bit inconsistent against the run. This year, dominant almost every week. What changed?
I think it's just details, right? Paying attention to the details, making sure we emphasize that on a daily basis, and that starts from the night before, right? Getting your mind ready to roll of what the morning looks like and what type of mentality you need to show up to the building with. And so our kids have done a great job flipping that switch as far as being consistent and paying attention to the details of what we're asking them to do.
Some of your guys don't have stats that jump off the page, but you know, Spencer and Andy are describing it and being like, hey, what Herb and Scott and those guys do is setting up everyone else. Can you kind of describe what they're doing so well that's allowing the linebackers and stuff to get those tackles?
Really just doing their job. You know, what we ask them to do is the hardest job physically on the football field, and that's to create disruptions up front. We're trying to get these guys to destroy the line of scrimmage, and they've done a good job at it so far. And you know, if you ask them, there's still so much for them to grow in and get better at, and we're on that journey right now.
Yeah, you're saying, you know, sometimes it's hard to measure the impact of Scott based off the stats. How much fun is it to kind of go back and see what he's doing at times, even though there's not a stat maybe attached to it?
You know, it's funny, man, watching games from last year versus some of these teams that we're playing now, and it's just like, man, we were terrible last year, you know? And so all the kids are like, man, that looks bad, you know? So just for them to see the growth that they've made so far from last year and what that looks like, I think gives them more confidence every single week of where we're at and where we can still go. So it's been really good.
What does it say about a guy like Scott and his selflessness, though? I mean, he's probably got a shot to play the next level, or more than a shot to play the next level, and he just kind of plugs away doing what's necessary for the defense.
That's part of the job description. So that's what we signed up for. So when you play D-line, that's what you sign up for. You know what the fight is, you know what that looks like, and you're never going to get the praise that you probably feel like you deserve. And it's all about holding onto the hammer and breaking the concrete day in and day out.
Tell about people getting better. We're going to visit with Dimitri Washington in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Where is he better this year? Because he seems so much more productive.
There's a lot of confidence, and that's because he's been more consistent, I think, just in the simple things, right? His get off from his stance, striking where his eyes are at, just him understanding and going through his eye progression every single play is super crucial to not only his success individually, but collectively. It helps everybody up front. He's done a great job leading the group.
You guys have done a good job of limiting explosive plays. If you could make an offense have to go, you know, 10 plays to get this scoring position or something like that, I mean, is that a win for you guys? Do you like your chances if an opposing offense has to run 10, 12 plays against you?
Yes and no. We want to get off the field as soon as possible, you know, to get it back to our offense, who's done a great job establishing the run game through their physicality and creating their own explosive plays. But we want to get off the field ASAP. And if a team's got to drive 10 yards, I mean, that just goes back to the mentality of this defense, right? For us, it's very limited, right? It's very limited when they get into the red zone. Regardless of how they get there, it's 3 or nothing. That's the mentality, right? And for us, we got to create more nothings than we've done in the last couple of weeks.
Being able to hold Air Force's rushing offense to less than half of what they've been averaging this season, I mean, what does that do for the confidence up front?
It does a lot. It does a lot. It starts essentially that's the paycheck. Does that make sense? So sometimes you talk about how much the paycheck is going to look like, right? Until they can cash it. Sometimes it's just us talking all the time. So for it to finally show up and pay off, those guys now understand what it feels like to work hard and now get paid for it. So it's been really good.
Frank, Jonah had a number of field goals in the first half, including a 51-yarder. if he misses one of those things, Air Force is positioned to kick a field goal at the end, maybe win the game that way. How much does that change, how you guys approach that last drive by Air Force?
Man, everything matters. You know what I mean? And so that's one thing I told him. I was like, you were the key to the football game. Essentially, you scored like 12 points. And so he's done a great job, and I think it's everybody feeding off of each other, right? He understands that it takes the defense to do their job as well as the offense and special teams, and everyone puts him in a position to be able to do it. And when his time comes, he's always been clutch. And so it's been money for everybody to work together to make that happen.
You look on paper, and obviously Colorado State's struggling a little bit. Their stats obviously aren't great. How do you look at Saturday's game? Obviously, it looked like another chance for your defense to maybe go out there and, as you say, cash some checks.
Just like any other week. So this team stands in our way of getting to our ultimate goal, which is the Mountain West Championship. So there's only one team standing in front of us right now on our climb to the top of the mountain. That's Colorado State. So until we remove them from that place, they're still in front of us. So that's to our kids, what their record looks like means nothing, because if you watch their last 3 games, they've done a great job. So they're settled in. They're trying to they finally figured out who they are. They're a very physical team. They're doing a better job working together on all 3 phases. And so for us, it's not really about them. It's about how do we knock these guys out of our way.
Who are they? What have they been doing the last couple of games?
I think they've just been more consistent, right? We've seen a lot of different personnel shuffled around, right, up front, their O-line, quarterbacks, right? But now you see them now finally settle down, right? They got the O-line that they feel like they're the strongest with, their quarterback's back into play, and so you're seeing them be more consistent in what they're asking their kids to do, and so that staff's done a great job of getting them from where they started the season to where they are now.
Spencer Danielson, year 2 with him. Where's he better? Halftime adjustments during the week? I mean, year 2 compared to year 1 with Coach Danielson.
He's done a great job. I love Spencer in all phases, and I think really everybody growing together has really been the difference. You know what I mean? Some people always blame the one person that's making the call, but it's really everybody. Everyone plays a role in that. My preparation of the D-line, the DB coaches working with the DBs, but everyone plays a role. The players play a role in that deal. So even though the crowd or the fans see the person calling the plays as the guy that's in charge of the deal, everyone plays a role, and it's Spencer's done a hell of a job, man, and I got his back 100%, and I love working with him. Not just as a football coach, but I've learned so much from him as a man. It's been awesome.
You see Colorado State running back 25 tomorrow. Yeah, he's had some really nice games over the last few weeks for him.
He's a great player. I think he's one of the best players on their offense. And so for us, stopping the run is going to be number one. And he's probably the main player that I feel like that maybe people don't talk about as much as their running back. And he's about as good as they come in this conference, man. He can do it all.
When Spencer's talking in the coach's box, who's on the other end? I mean, is it you guys? Is it Kelly? Do some of the players have the mics?
Oh no, we can all hear him. The whole staff can hear him. So when he speaks, there's really good communication as far as what we're seeing. Everyone has really their assignments on the field when the plays are going, of what they're looking at. So just understanding where are the issues at, what are our concerns, and how do we adjust that. All of that happens when we're off the field and the offense is playing. So when he's speaking, everybody's listening, and then everyone's giving their feedback at the same time, and then that's where the communication of adjustments happen.